Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Titus and Sergio Variety Hour. We missed Tuesday because good old Serge is very sick, might not make it. Well, no, that's not true. He will be back next week. Not to scare everyone. But I do have a guest Serge in the studio. It's Western Bulldogs bannerman, as he became known, Danny McGinlay.
G'day,
Danny,
Titus.
welcome to the studio.
It's great to be here. I don't think Serge will be back. I'm going to. I'm looking to wide Anti's position. This podcast is getting pretty big.
I was about to say, this is a coup.
Yeah.
Serge will be sitting and listening, going, "Uh-oh."
Well, what I did is I hired Jake King to go round to Serge's house and just have a little chat.
Well, we're going to get to that because it has been a great week. So I was desperate to get someone in to talk about it all because there's just too much going on. Is this the craziest week we've had? Now, before we start, I just want to thank our supporters, everyone who's become a supporter of the podcast, and given their hard-earned. You're the reason we can do this. Well, not Serge so much because he's slacking off. He'll miss out on his cut this week. And we also
I get paid?
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Huge amounts.
Sweet.
You won't need to work again.
Ah, finally. I'm on Bulldogs wages.
That's right. That's right. It's huge money here, especially because you're probably not going to get to write banners in September this year.
Oh, here we go. Righto. No, I might get one. Or I might get poached by another club.
That's
right.
We should have mentioned the tour Insufficient Intent is on sale. We're touring the country. Thursday, 31st of August, we're at the Comedy Theatre in Melbourne. Now, that is getting very close to being sold out. So if you do want to come along, best to get tickets. Sydney, Friday, 1st of September. Saturday, 2nd of September, we're in Perth. That's selling incredibly quickly too. Adelaide, Sunday, the 3rd of September, which is Father's Day. So, what a treat for your dad.
Yeah. For you to be in Adelaide.
Yeah, that's right. And also, if you don't like your dad, perfect thing to give him tickets to.
Where are you playing in Adelaide?
I've been told my pronunciation of this goes all over the shop.
Okay.
So it's the Akaba bar.
Arkaba, yeah, that's a great venue.
Yeah, so...
That's where Cold Chisel started, apparently.
Right. Well, there's a lot of similarities there.
There is, yeah, you're Scottish heritage.
We're looking for... Because Serge really has often, speaks with disdain of Adelaide. So they're already going to be waiting with their pitchforks, so it's going to be great. And I'm fully encouraging the mob to get out there. Buy a ticket and burn an effigy of Sergio Paradise.
Bring your own barrel. There'll be enough to go around. We can chop him up.
So I'm looking forward to catching up with the people of Adelaide. And mind you, he hasn't been in 20 years. So it's like people who have out-of-date racism. He doesn't actually, he's got no, it's like I heard someone refer to Italians and Greeks recently as refos.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, come on, I'm not for racists, but I'm especially critical of lazy racists that don't update their racism.
Well, no, I think Greeks and Italians are just about to reach the point where if someone's racist to it, you go, oh, well done, you've hung on to that so long. Because I heard some Liberal MP talking about a situation he didn't like, and he goes, it just seems a bit Irish to me.
Oh, really? Right.
Okay.
Those drunken Irish
come over here, they take our potatoes.
take all the jobs in the police force. And then Monday the 4th of September at the Street Theatre in Canberra, which should be good. Now, I should also announce that the weekend after that, we look like having dates, but yet to announce, but in Brisbane and Hobart, because people in Brisbane and Hobart contacted us and said, why are you treating us like the AFL and ignoring us? And we said, well, we're not like the AFL, thankfully, and so we're going to come down and come up and come down and see you both. So stay tuned. I should have an announcement for that either later this week or next week.
I got to say, Titus, you're a dang fool. I noticed the dates there. That's the weekend in between round 22.
It's the bye week, yeah.
The bye weekend. So you are going to completely miss out on AFLX.
I know. Have you noticed how that's just stopped being talked about?
Yeah.
How they ramped it up and all the teams went, hang on, we haven't heard anything about this.
Well, there'll be a big announcement on game day this Sunday.
Really?
Yes, there's been a rules committee, and guess who's been heading it up?
You.
McGinlay.
Great. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the thing is, if you come up with silly rules, the AFL will top them. I'm just telling you. You've gone, what's the craziest rules I can make? And they'll have gone, No, that's not even close.
So right now I want to say jokes, but they'll give away Sunday's jokes.
Well, there you are. So watch Danny's segment on game day, and it also gets put up on all the social medias. I notice your stuff too.
Yeah, it goes on Twitter and Facebook. Apparently, everyone's Twitter against their will because it's a sponsored tweet. Thanks to the good people at Amy Insurance. Thanks, guys. Lucky you're with Danny. They'll throw So anyone who's remotely into footy, the algorithm says, well, they'll like this, and that's where I get my more vocal fans is the wrong word.
The sort of not non-constructive criticism, just criticism.
Fans of the word flog. That's what they love.
How much is flog like become in footy parlance like the worst thing you can call someone?
In any social media, if you use the term flog, you should be kicked out of the pool.
I know. I think you kind of lose the argument straight away. But that said, I've been called flog a lot, so you know. But I'm not. I've never argued I'm not a flog, so that's where jokes on them.
I'm quite good at flogging, anyway.
So we should mention, let's start off with, I wrote an article today that I just put up asking the question, are we at peak stupid? Because this last fortnight in the AFL has certainly seemed like a baton race of people just trying to outdo each other or handing over the baton of how stupid you can be.
It started with Basher Hooley.
Well, we had Basher Hooley deck bloke.
Yep.
And then deciding that getting Malcolm Turnbull and Waleed Ali as
character references.
Then the AFL Tribunal said, well, we're even stupider because we'll accept them and reduce your sentence. Then the AFL...
It's amazing what a gold Logie can do to Gillon McLaughlin. Hamish McLaughlin is there behind going, I want that Logie, mate. I want that Logie.
Do you think... The thing about that I found funny is then the AFL actually come out and appeal that sentence. So anything that your stupidity makes the AFL look like the sensible ones in the... is a good effort. Then you have... after that all died down and they successfully appealed that for the first time ever, you have Thomas Butt go, well, I'm just going to deck a guy this Friday.
Well, I say I salute Thomas Bugg there because the jumper punch, no one likes that, but he went all natural.
Yeah,
it's the nudist jumper punch.
I'm not even pretending. So someone said to me on Twitter, and I forget who it is, my apologies, but they said, because it was a couple of weeks ago, they said, would Bugg have been smarter if he just grabbed some jumper on the way through?
Yeah, should have punched him and then grabbed jumper and went, oh, sorry.
Yeah,
or take your jumper off, wrap it around your fist and then belt a bloke.
Yeah, that's now acceptable. So then we had, then I thought, well, then Tom Bugg did that, and I thought, well, here we go. This is as dumb as it gets, and he got his 6 weeks. But then, given those two incidences, you would have thought, well, this is basically, we're not going to top this. And then Ali Fahour wanders in and goes, the old hold my beer joke.
Yes.
He says, well, I'm an AFL executive, so I can deck someone in suburban footy.
Was it? Now I've not seen that footage. Was it a coward punch or was it?
Yeah. There's unlike the Bug one where it's just the two of them scuffling and then it sort of stops and then Bug turns around. Well, there was sort of a scuffle. Then they broke apart and weren't scuffling anymore, and then Bug cracked him. Right, that was sort of the Callum Mills incident. The Arlivore one is there's a big group going on of fighting, and Arlivore runs past a few blokes and just king hits a bloke, which he says was a bloke who was hitting one of his players, but but he just that guy's not an executive at the AFL, so just absolutely decks him. So we have that. Then I thought, well, that's taken the title. That's the stupidest thing because after the two previous incidences and being an AFL executive, so then Basher Hooley thinking, well, hang on. You've all forgotten about my stuff. I'm going to write a Facebook post in support of Basher Hooley, of Ali Fahour.
Yep.
So you're going, well, hang on, Basher, you'd actually been given not one but 2 gifts from God to distract from what you'd done. Everyone had forgotten about your stuff.
The phrase tactfully quiet should apply to you right now.
There's a time being quiet it's not a skill I've learned, but it's a good skill to have. Then in the middle of this, you have Danny Green come out, who has a campaign against coward punches. Come out and say the Thomas Bugg punch had nothing in it, and Callum Mills being concussed by it just shows that Callum Mills obviously has a weak chin.
A weak chin. Wow.
Which is the worst thing someone can... To another bloke, that's the worst thing you can accuse someone of.
Well, I'm not a huge boxing fan, so I thought that... Because, Bug belts him in the chin, and then it sort of carries on. Didn't he get him a bit in the throat as well?
Yeah, but he did
and that's
fully concuss him
I
as well.
thought the weak chin was like he was a bit... Green was a bit offended that the knuckle slipped off the chin.
Yeah,
and when a strong chin just absorbs all the pressure itself.
Locks onto the fist. So that was Green coming out. So I thought, well, he's thrown his hat in to be stupid. Ali Fahour maybe has jumped him again. Which brings us to our top issue that we've got today. So after all this, I thought, well, I don't know who to award it to out of all that. It's probably Ali Fahour was winning for me. And then it breaks yesterday afternoon that Jake King has been arrested and charged for a variety of extortion threats. These are threats to kill, threat to damage.
Yes.
Use of a carriage to service to threaten, which is a phone or an email.
Oh, okay, right.
Used to be the post.
Yeah. I thought literally, because those horse and carriages are getting banned from Swanson Street.
So all those are called carriage. So in my day, we would send a Cobb and Co. down to your house with a telegram.
Is that like a drive-by with a bow and arrow?
Yeah.
Just...
So that sort of, I don't know, it doesn't say whether it was a phone call. I think it was a phone call from reading some of the things. But now then it became out of this, the reason Jake King decided to go and threaten a bloke is Ty Vickery, and these are allegations at this stage, obviously, although Jake King has been charged, but Vickery hasn't, right? So the number is there seems to be charges and no doubt in the police's minds in terms of the charges, but yet to be proven that they are accusing Jake King of threatening this person with threats to a whole bunch of stuff, to extort money to, and all that sort of stuff. Now, the motive they believe that the police are investigating, but are yet to charge anyone with, is Box Hill Hawks footballer Ty Vickery.
Is that official, or is that a bit of Titus?
He allegedly was partners with someone in a Hawthorne East Italian restaurant, Fat Monkey. Have you ever been to Fat Monkey? No,
I've not been to Fat Monkey. I know all the best Italian restaurants have English names
and are in East Hawthorne. the Italian hub of Victoria. So anyway, apparently this is the story the media picking up, and but yet to be proven and yet to even be charged Vickery. But the police are working on a theory that Vickery had a partner in this eatery that he believes stole $100,000, went to the police to say, I believe this guy's stolen $100,000 from me. Police said, not enough of a case for us to do anything, sorry.
Yep.
Bit busy. bit busy banning T-shirt cannons at the footy.
Bit busy just trying to work out how dumb you are to open an Italian restaurant called Fat Monkey.
You kind of walked into that.
So you've got, obviously it's based on Heston Blumenthal's Fat Duck, but Fat Monkey, like, you don't want an image of what you will turn into if you eat too much.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, calling a burger place type 2 diabetes.
Fat cow.
Yeah.
Your type 2 diabetes is perfect. So apparently when he was dissatisfied, there's an alleged thing here, but yet to be laid charges. So maybe there's not the evidence, but that the reason he enlisted King to try and recover the funds. Now, to me, any sensible business person wanting to recover money would look first to Jake King.
Well, of all the footy players that I've dealt with, he'd be one of the ones that I'd probably end up giving money to if he'd asked. I played juniors around the time of Jake King. He was at North Heidelberg.
Really?
And he got sent off in the under-9s grand final for belting a kid. And I remember I spoke to Jake was
demanding money.
Demanding money. Time? Yeah. It was for I spoke to Jake just last year, who was doing a thing for Marngrook, and we were just chatting off air. And I went, "Do you remember that?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he said, "Do you know what the worst thing I did was?" And I go, "Please tell me, Jake." And he goes, "I bit a bit of a kid's ear off."
Really?
In a match. And I went, "Oh, was that Mike Tyson thing?" He goes, "No, Mike Tyson stole my gear."
So it's shocking that he would go into an extortion attempt.
Well, he was because he was doing some media stuff, and man, his voice on Triple M, because the rest of them were all like,
long.
1051 Triple M. Hey, Spud, what are you up to? Yeah, I reckon the Tigers will win.
Yeah, it's like, okay, and then I'm going to come around your house and extort you.
That sounded good. It's a bit more, I reckon the Tigers will win, mate.
It is amazing to me, but, we criticise...
by the way, Jake, if Jake, you're listening, that was Titus who said that.
Yeah, love you, buddy. The thing I find interesting about this is we complain about AFL players not having a career to go to when they've finished.
The exit strategy.
Yeah. So here's Jake gone and found a line of work that suits him and plays to his skill set.
He's a good egg.
And the police are going to come down on him. So, so look, if this proves to be true that Ty Vickery got Jake to do this, if it does prove to be true, that surely wins the stupidest act of the year so far.
Well,
that trumps Ali Fahour even.
What day? It's Thursday today. Footy show is on tonight, Titus, my friend.
Right.
I'm sure Sam knew. Look, Tom Boyd has announced that he's got clinical depression. I'm sure Sam has an opinion on that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking forward to Sam. I'm expecting Sam will handle that with a lot of sensitivity and tact.
I dare say, yeah.
Did you see the front bar beat the footy show in the
I did.
ratings?
Well, I'm an employee of Front Bar, so I'm very biased towards that.
I didn't realise you were doing stuff with them.
Yeah, I work there.
Because I knew you do game day for
I'm on
7.
the air on game day, but
and
behind
you're
the
doing
scenes. Front bar.
I ask you, if you're going to compete with the footy show, you guys really underdid racist and sexist humour. You really didn't lift the bar to that.
No, should we have?
Yeah, surely. That's what you meant to do in a footy show. Eh? Have you ever thought of getting a footballer to dress up in women's clothing?
We have thought of that.
Nothing funnier.
But hey, mate, we're saving that for the grand final show. You don't just lead with that. You don't just open with bloke in a dress.
Sam Pang was saying to me when I was talking to him when I do my segment on Nova, we were talking afterwards, and he said he finds it funny that they're in this supposed footy war, because really anyone watching the footy show probably isn't going to watch the front bar and vice versa. There's different audiences out there. I think
we had a producer watching the footy show while Front Bar was on. He was flicking between the two, and he said we both opened. They opened with Sam Newman apologising for a transphobic thing, and you flick over to Front Bar, and we were discussing lollies.
Yeah, for 5 minutes.
Cutting edge football commentary. That's what you tune into Front Bar for.
So we should, moving on from Ty Vickery and Jake King doing things, just going on to the mentioning the Ali Fahour. So he last night got 14 match suspension for.
Wasn't that banned for life?
So that triggers. So basically, what happens in the under the AFL Victoria rules is if you over the course of I think it's I'm not sure the period, is it a few years or is it your whole career? But if you get a 16 match threshold, you can be suspended for life or for a period of time, right? Now, this 14-match suspension took him over the 16-match suspension by 5 because he'd already been...
Price is Right.
Yeah, he really nailed it. He also got suspended earlier in the year for king hitting someone, and there was a report in
so he's on brand.
Oh, yeah. There's a report in the paper that
and he's diverse. He punched a black guy, he punched a white guy.
That's right. That's what he took diversity to mean. He'll punch anyone regardless of race or religion, which is all we're asking for. So he said apparently he also at some point last year jumped the fence and tangled with a spectator. So I think his next move will be in the WWE.
Oh, no, that's a good idea.
Mr. Diversity.
And what a great name, the Diversity Officer.
Mr. Diversity. I can't wait. It's going to be great. He's got it all going on right away.
Can you imagine he comes out and he starts bagging out the opposition, but then he does it again in Mandarin. And then in
Mr.
Arabic.
Diversity. And his finishing move is the melting pot. So I'm all for that. That's going to be
I would pay money for that.
So anyway, because he now finally has got that suspension, because the AFL said, we're not going to comment until the Northern Football League tribunal sits. And I was like, 1, you got the footage. 2, he's admitted to being guilty. So he's not denying anything. And so they're saying, no, we're not going to sack him or do anything or even make a comment on it because the due process...
That's right, due process. That's the words.
And I'm like, it's not the Supreme Court Like the National Football, the Northern Football League Tribunal,
yes,
is not the Supreme Court or the High Court of Australia. Like, technically, the AFL sits really above them.
But this is why they deserve to be put on the pedestal they do. They respect due process and ways and means and all the great logistics that need to happen, and then ban him for life and sack him.
Well, the AFL respect due process when in their favour.
Well, yeah.
That's basically, and then if it's not, they try and do a deal around it.
Well, if the AFL, banning him first would be like playing the grabbing the free kick before the umpire has done the holding the ball gesture. You wait for the crowd to yell ball, and then I love how umpire, when they're going to call holding the ball, because if it's a ball up, they do it straight away.
Yeah.
But holding the ball, and then it's like 3/4 of a second, and that's the best moment of their day.
The thing about this Ali Ball thing is he, on the back of being banned from playing football, he decided to resign from the AFL.
After he was told
by
Jake King.
Well, the thing I think that happened here is I think the AFL went, either he quits or we have to sack him.
Yeah.
If we have to sack him and it gets into legal areas, we're much better to have waited for the tribunal to sit and find him guilty to say, that's why we didn't preempt that. That's really why they did it, not because of the rules but because of employment rules.
Did the AFL say the phrase, he has the full support of the board?
That's right. So the full support. And so he resigned last night. So good news is that there's a
job opening.
There's a job opening.
Diversity officer.
You and I, as two white middle-aged men, about time
34.
We got young middle-aged.
Thank you.
I just don't think you and I are going to live very long. With the amount of cheers, mainly because of what you just said about Jake King.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
The thing about that is, I think it's going to be exciting to see who gets that diversity manager job, and I reckon they're going to be looking for someone who doesn't play football on the weekends.
Yeah, well, that's smart. So who would you go for?
Well, Sam Newman needs a new gig.
Yes, this works really well.
He's offended almost every group.
Yeah, and that's it's diversity. That's pretty open.
There's no group he's left untouched. I don't think.
I can't think of anyone better. I think we've really led with the top candidate there.
He's right up there. Eddie's got an argument for it. He's annoyed quite a few different groups.
Maybe Donald Trump will be looking for a new job soon.
Well, he'd be perfect, such a...
No one believes in diversity more than me. Terrific. Terrific coward punch.
Tom Bugg, we should mention, one of the things that came out of the Tom Bugg
he's got nothing to do for 6 weeks.
Well, that's right. He's free. And he has shown he can throw a punch. One of the things that came out of him being clocking Callum Mills and concussing him is it sparked a debate about whether a red card send-off rule should be brought into the AFL. What do you think of the red?
In suburban footy, I remember there was a few send-offs. But
they have it at that level in junior and and you said Jake King got sent off.
He did. He got sent off in the under-9s grand final.
Yeah.
Against Heidelberg.
So do you think the red card at the senior level? I just don't know if I trust the umpires. At some point will send someone off for not doing.
That's right, and I think if you can do a red card for punching and a red card for diving, because I've seen some shocking dives recently, and I really think that needs to go to be punished not as severely as punching, but definitely more severely than it is.
Yeah,
because sometimes a punch is a really good story within itself. Like, my favourite punch in an AFL game is Alistair Lynch in the 2004 grand final, where he just came out and clocked his opponent. I can't remember the opponent's name, I apologise. But, he knew it was Lynchy knew it was his last game. He knew he probably didn't have the engine to get through the game. So he's going, what are you going to do, suspend me for 10 weeks? I'm okay with that. Bang, bang, bang.
So that's an argument to have the red card.
No, if he'd been sent off, then if he had the threat of being sent off, we never would have seen that beautiful moment.
What a wonderful moment.
So I'm against it just for Alistair Lynch.
My only problem with it is it's not like you get away scot-free. And the way Tom Bugg played after the punch would suggest if you're a Sydney supporter, you wouldn't want him sent off.
Yeah, that's very true. And is the send-off rule obviously the same as soccer? You can't have a player replace them, so you're playing a man down.
Well, they haven't really, in true fashion, this is a media debate, not a real debate where anyone's thought through the actual things for it. I mean, this isn't the list of, if we start from everything from AFLX down, this isn't the dumbest idea I've heard. Well, shot clock's right up there, but it's also, I don't know if the game is crying out. It's not like you don't get the book thrown at you.
Yeah.
My problem is more that they haven't in the past punished them enough. Like, I think with Bug having 6 weeks over his head, that sends a pretty clear message. You're going to miss a lot of time.
Yeah.
If you do this. So,
and if you do it repeatedly, the clubs, you're going to be paying wages and getting no returns. So.
Yeah. And before you know it, you'll be working for Ty Vickery collecting.
Ty Vickery's going to become this mafia guy. He needs a mafia nickname.
Well, the only thing I can think of that will save Ty, and this is the thing that hasn't been proven yet, is one, if it's shown that he didn't tell Jake to do it. Which you could imagine him, he was former flatmates with Jake King, so you can imagine him telling Jake about this guy and Jake going, you know, I'm going to do you a favour, mate.
Yeah.
or not even telling him. So
Ty saying, no, don't do that. And Jake going, yeah, that's right. You know nothing.
Or Ty Vickery, you know, like sometimes you say, I wish someone would just take care of that guy or something. And
Gotcha.
When you say it to, you know, our friends, they're comedians, so they might tell a nasty joke about them. But then, but I reckon with Jake, you know, you could never know if like Ty Vickery goes, it just frustrates me. I just wish, you know, I'd just go around and clock the bloke. And Jake went,
I know how to save the day here. You leave it to old push-up. I'll sort you out.
And Vickery's like, I can almost imagine a scenario of events where, you know, Ty Vickery's sitting at home one night and the phone rings and it's Jake. Goes,
I sorted it, mate.
He goes, oh, mate, you know you meant telling me about that guy. You know, I rang him. I told him I was going to kill him and kill his family and left a message too, sent a text and harassed him by a carriage service.
Jake, that's illegal. No, I'm not going to actually do it. Don't tell him. I just told him I'm going to do it. That's fine.
And Ty Vickery's going, Jake, what did you do? So Ty could be completely, you know, innocent here. We don't.
Are you saying Ty might be incompetent here? Ty might not know what's going on. He's never have shown those sorts of characteristics
he
before.
might not have quite come through with it. Anyway, it is bizarre.
Well, that's what we probably should have had a few allegedlys in there, but
no, I think we prefaced up front, and actually we're arguing that perhaps Ty didn't do it.
Yeah, I know.
We're giving a scenario of where he didn't do it.
We are assuming 100% though that Jake did do it though.
Well, Jake's been charged, so the only thing he has been charged. So we're not assuming, but we're going on the police charges. But of course, it's alleged. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
That's right.
Even Ali Fahour was until.
That's right.
Even though we had the video and he said he did it. But no one respects due process more than you and I.
And the AFL.
We had a question from Big Ted via the Twitter sphere. He said, how much cleaner has the AFL been since they clamped down on the jumper punch?
Well, it's a lot more obvious who's what the punching.
Do you think players have done that? They've gone, well, I can't jumper punch, so I might as well just not bother with the jumper anymore. Because when the jumper used to get you off, once that's way, they didn't go, well, I'll stop punching people in the head now. They went, all right, well, I won't bother with the jumper.
Yeah, it's made it more cut and dry. It's made it easier for the umpires. Yeah. I say Thomas Bugg's a hero.
Sure is. Like, there's no thing. Robin Maverick wrote in, should the red card have a picture of Barry Hall on it?
Oh, now that's insulting. That's insult. Barry Hall's an absolute champion of the Footscray Football Club.
You might be a bit biased there.
Oh, Barry Hall, when he played for Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney,
totally.
Yeah.
What a thug.
My favourite is I suggested that what they should do is the AFL will come up with, if they come up with a system of cards, there'll be 7 of them.
There will, yeah.
Like there'll be more cards and all different colours. And I think that instead of having Barry Hall on the red card or something, they'll get sponsors for each of the cards. So the commentary will be, oh, he's showing him a Carlton draft yellow. They probably deserve there. Or the other one I had in this article I wrote, I said, oh,
they showed him the Tui's red.
Yeah, that's right, Tui's red. Or that's a red card brought to you by McDonald's Chicken Big Mac. Don't get hangry and punch someone. Eat a Big Mac today. And see how the AFL will be all in for that.
Mate, those are great sponsor credit line. That's the term
that's
I learned
right.
in commercial radio.
And then the other thing they could do is start opening the betting markets on who'll get a red card, yellow card. Like, this just lends itself to AFL could commercialise this in a beautiful, beautiful way.
God, the sports bet blue card. What does a blue card get you? That's a warning that you might get a warning later on.
Yeah, that's right. It's just that, or that you're, you're not living up to you're not helping them cross meet the line in the betting line.
You've gone against brand values.
Yeah, that's right. The other story that came out of the weekend that has been a bit overshadowed thanks to everyone belting each other is Nathan Buckley coming under the pump after they lost on the weekend. They're now 5-9. But again, what shocks me I think Buckley's gone.
Yeah. Everyone knows that.
Collingwood just doesn't want to.
I'm very surprised you even used the phrase Nathan Buckley coming under pressure. That pressure's been there since.
This is the thing I've been saying for 2 years, right? Is we've got evidence now over 6 years that Buckley can't coach.
Yeah.
It's not even circumstantial. It's clear. And because I think people respect Buckley as a great footballer and a good media performer, and most people seem to like him.
Yeah, no, I didn't like him, and then I met him, and now I really
everyone
like him.
says he's a nice guy. And so I imagine all those things are true, right? That's kind of, and then because Eddie backed him so much that he has to stick with him until he just can't, until he has to throw one sacrificial lamb to keep his own job, is he's stayed in longer than he really would have.
Well, yeah, but also, I mean, that the Collingwood side at any point could turn it up and win the grand final because there's a lot of talent there. Like when they won in 2010, that was the youngest squad to win a grand final.
That's the amazing thing is he inherited
a Porsche. It's not like he built up an old
and he's
Mazda
turned it into a laser
121.
gear 1986. That's the thing.
He's been driving it around not realising it's a manual. It's just in first. This is going really well.
Yeah. And the thing about it too is it's not just him. So I think Buckley can't particularly coach. I think there are issues there. And then I think also the list management needs to go.
Yeah,
the list management's terrible. I mean, the Chris Mains...
No, remember, this is Collingwood. List management has to stay.
Yeah, no,
and Eddie must coach.
I kind of figure that as opposition fans, we've got more years out of Buckley than we really deserve.
Yeah.
We've been on when you're on a sweet deal and you just don't mention to anyone that, remember in high school, you'd have a class and that teacher was sick and wouldn't show up and there wouldn't be an emergency and you'd all sit there and you'd go, if we all say nothing, we will just have a period without a teacher. Don't go and get a teacher. Don't make a lot of noise.
That's right. Be cool.
They were some of the quietest classes I've ever been in because everyone just sat at their desk very quietly. You didn't want to make it look like it wasn't a class in progress in case someone walked past. And you just went, let's go with this, guys. And I think that's kind of been like us with the opposition fans with Buckley.
Because it will end. Collingwood will get good again. I mean, just like it is really sad, but Richmond will probably win a grand final at some point this century. And that'll be horrible.
You're an optimist.
No, I'm a pessimist. I don't want it to happen.
I can't get my brain around Richmond might actually be good.
Yeah.
And they might actually be good. I recognise that they might actually be good. I don't know, but I almost can't bring myself to even when I say that, my brain goes, you've been burnt before.
Well, the good news is they're not that good. I was at the Swans Tigers game.
But no one's that good this year.
No, that's true. It's really the Bradbury year. It's whoever wins this.
And injuries.
They're just not going to lose it. Every other club's going to lose it.
I look at Melbourne's injury list and GWS's injury list and a bunch of others and you go, if one of those teams, and there's a couple of others too, that suddenly either got a rush of those players back, it all just came together. If Melbourne managed to finish 7th, and
no team has ever won it from 7th.
Yeah, that's right.
No team has ever gelled together for the perfect month of football. Don't be a dreamer, Titus.
And then suddenly, they all get healthy. You go, well, now they're in with a real shot. But if they don't, or they keep having with Viney and everything, you go, well, they're stuffed. And GO's a bit like that because their injury list would be another top 8 team.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
It's insane.
That's depressing.
Yeah, but they've overdone GOS just slightly. So I think it's going to be interesting with Buckley what will happen. But I do laugh about how we're still debating whether he can coach.
Are we? No, we were in
the
pretty
media
much agreement.
Still do. You and I,
Well, that's because you just you're contractually required to talk about Collingwood a certain percentage of the time because it sells more papers or there's more because there's more Collingwood fans than anything else.
And for us, there's a lot more jokes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we're still talking about it. Even though if this was North Melbourne, it would just be like, well, Kangas are still rubbish.
Yeah, that's right. And no one would be listening, so no one would hear. Bernard Tomic last night. yesterday after losing in the first round at Wimbledon. Came out and said that he was admitted that out on the court he was bored and mentally not there, which I don't know if that just mentally not there for him implies just the court. But anyway, let's go with it for him. He came out and did a thing. He said, he said he did not always respect the sport enough, which was a shock to all of us. This was his 8th or 9th, he said, Wimbledon. He didn't know. But he's tough to find motivation. He said that it happens a lot out on the court and there's definitely a mental issue. He then said, I don't know why, but, I felt a little bored out there, to be completely honest with you. Now, to me, Tomic speaks about tennis like most people speak about their dead-end jobs when they're at high school. Like if you're at Coles or McDonald's or whatever, people go, how boring's today? How long's it going? He's like that, but on the centre court of Wimbledon.
Yeah, or someone who went, I want to be a dentist, and they got their science degree and got their dentist degree and suddenly went, I don't want to be a dentist. This is, well, to be honest, I've never respected Bernard Tomic more because when I'm forced to watch tennis, I'm very bored as well. Seriously, it's in my bottom 5 sports. I don't know why it's so popular. Bottom 5 sports, up there with golf and horse racing. It's just, and man, because I remember...
Where's AFLX in your list?
Number 1 with a bullet. What a great sport that is. Tune in Sunday, game day, 10 a.m. Because you do get sort of caught up in thinking tennis is a good sport. Around January, it's really hot, 40 degrees.
It's all happening in Melbourne.
All happening in Melbourne, the glamour of the Australian Open. You go, yeah, this is all right. But then it wasn't till I was about probably 25, around Tomic's age, that I went, hang on, no, this is shit. This is 2 tax-dodging millionaire private school kids whacking a ball at each other, and occasionally it'll bounce interestingly. But there's no brilliant story there. There's no little battler coming through. No, you need access to a tennis court.
It's true. It is a sport I find that I was really into it. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and just. It has, I find it hard to get that excited about a lot of the players. But I do find Tomic, I don't know whether I kind of almost respect Tomic more for just being so blunt.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's basically a guy who you imagine his dad must have, well, we know, basically railroaded him into a tennis career.
Yeah.
And he's ended up here. He's got more money than he will need for the rest of his life.
Quick, go enjoy your life.
Well, that's the thing. I think he's just said, I'm just trying to. They asked him he said, I'm just trying to make enough money so I never have to work again.
Right.
I'll retire at 31 and never have to work again. That's his whole thing. And the problem he has is because he's in Australia. If he was in one of the Eastern European countries or where they churn out lots of top players who are above him, he wouldn't be noticed. He'd just be the fifth best player.
Fifth best Belarusian.
Yeah, that's right. And who no one wouldn't even know his name. He'd just be a decent journeyman on the thing. But because he's in Australia, because we're so bad overall at tennis, every player that comes along and shows any ability is heaped with they're the great white hope, as Dawn Fraser says.
Yeah.
Where they go, Nick Kyrgios, if you're not, unless they're number 1 in the world, they're almost failures. And the fact Tomic's like, I'm comfortable being in the top 20 and not working that hard and making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And
we can't even fathom that.
Australians go, no.
He's like,
this is
hunting.
not what we do.
He's Goodwill Hunting. He just wants to be a janitor and hang out with his mates.
Do you think he needs therapy? He needs a Robin Williams type to say, it's not your fault.
It's not your
Bernard.
fault over and over again. And then he cries and then he wins Wimbledon. And I still don't care.
We could save him a lot of time by just showing him that movie.
Yeah. And then, actually, Bernard is really living the perfect storyline for a great movie about his life.
Yeah,
we need a Robin Williams character to come in and turn it around, and then he becomes a champion.
Or you need some bitter ex-player who's
drunk,
and lost their love for the game,
like John Candy in Cool Runnings.
Or
Woody Harrelson in Hunger Games.
First and they both healed each other.
Yeah,
that's the story.
Okay, so who's really who's worn out now?
Well, Boris Becker just got made bankrupt.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
But he's been a coach himself. You need someone who's sort of almost been away from the game or something. And I'm trying to think of who it is. I mean, actually, no, it should be Margaret Court.
Oh, Yes!
And through her working with him, it opens up, love back into her heart.
Oh, that's brilliant.
She no longer just hates people.
And the title is Atomic Court. This is brilliant. Get onto it, Disney.
I've just got a text that it's been greenlit.
Yes!
That we've got to have a spec script to...
right. We can choose whichever Hemsworth we want to play Tomic. Margaret Court's going to be played by one of the Monsters, Inc., the receptionist.
Did you watch the Jeff Horn fight?
I did not. No. This was Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable enough in my masculinity to admit I don't really care about boxing.
Well,
especially now UFC's come in.
That's the more...
like Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. I'll watch that.
Well, that's just a spectacle of just an insane premise as well.
Well, exactly.
And the cat, they're not...
Same way I'd watch a giraffe fight a dolphin. That's awesome.
That's right. That's good. I've been wanting this finally happened.
Yeah.
Thank God that giraffe fell into the ocean.
Rumble at SeaWorld.
I think I found funny about this is, one, so Horn winning this is, it's amazing and all that sort of stuff. And he's a movie in himself of being an ex-school teacher and all that. But the reaction from, Bruce McAvaney said he's the most important sportsman in Australia at the moment.
Yeah, that's Toby McLean, mate. So.
Yeah. And then he said, then you had the Queensland Premier meeting him for a state event the next day and all this.
That's Palace Chook.
Yeah, and I thought all he'd done is
he beat up a senator.
He beat up a senator, which, because he's a senator in the
Filipino senator gets belted in Paddington. That's not a headline.
Manny's 38 years old.
Yeah.
And Jeff's 29. It's a fair gap it's like if you beat up someone, if I went out today and beat up someone 10 years older than me, I'm not getting anyone saying I'm the greatest guy.
Yeah, I don't think there was any Rocky movies where he beat up a kid. He was always the underdog, wasn't he?
Well, that's the thing. It is an impressive thing, but like with all boxing, you never seem to see this Manny in his prime versus Jeff Horn. It's a Manny declining going towards the end, and even then it was controversially close.
Oh yeah. See, I'll never understand how they score boxing and everything.
Well, they don't either.
You just keep going till one of them taps out. That's the third rule of Fight Club. Come on.
The way they score boxing, which is why it's confusing if you don't know this to the uninitiated, is the betting companies work out who they want to win.
Is that it?
They then tell the judges.
Oh, there we go. Right, that makes so much more sense.
So often people are going, I don't get how they judge that looking at the fight I just saw. And they go, well, you don't understand the betting markets.
And this is why I'm not really watching boxing.
The other one that looks like having a rematch, by the way, so that should be funny. I think that will make some more money for them. One story I thought was fascinating is Joe Ingles, the basketballer who is from South Australia. He's signed a 4-year contract in the NBA. He's played there for a few years now and played for the Utah Jazz and had his best ever season this year. Yep. It's equivalent worth an estimated 67.6 million Australian dollars
per year. Or is that?
I think overall. He's bought Adelaide in his first move.
Instead of those big politey signs everywhere, it's going to say Ingers.
I don't know what he's going to do with the remaining 66 million, but it does mean South Australia now has an economy.
Well, Ingles is from Adelaide. He's a big Hawks fan. Which,
is he? I liked him until you told me
sorry
that.
About that. And I'm a big fan of Joe Ingles because apparently I look like him.
You do look like
I've been told many times that I look like Joe Ingles. In fact, there is a great Twitter account called Joe Ingles Looks Like, and it just collates whenever someone tweets Joe Ingles looks like whatever,
anyone,
they just retweet it. And hilariously, they only follow people that other people have tweeted looks like someone. Yeah. So, and he looks like a lot of things. It's a really funny
But you do look a bit like Joey. Yeah. If someone said you were his brother, you wouldn't be like... You'd be like, oh, yeah, cool.
And there's Ingles in my family on my dad's side, so I could be related to him. G'day, Joey.
And you got a lot of the basketball talent.
I do. Hey, man, I played just up the road here, St. Joseph's White Lightning under-12s. I was their third best player, I'll have you know.
The White Lightning.
The White Lightning.
That's a great name.
That's what the team was called and my nickname.
I'm looking forward to that. Should be the new Tasmanian expansion club.
Oh, the Tassie White Lightning.
Yeah, I like that. That's got a lot of... See, it's a bit close to port, I'm afraid, with the use of the lightning thing. See, I love that the Hobart Hurricanes in
Makes
the
no
BBL.
sense.
Hurricanes only occur in the northern hemisphere.
And aren't they only at sea as well?
And Tasmania doesn't really get anything of that nature anyway. But anyway,
that's why the name, the Launceston Suns, will just work.
Perfect. The cricket lockout, it's just been announced just before we started recording this that the Australia A tour of South Africa is off.
Oh, no.
It actually is off now. Yeah.
So my Australia A tattoo will become even more irrelevant.
That's right. Serge has been hoping that with this strike he can play for Australia.
Oh, that's a good idea.
He's willing to cross the picket line, which we've had a few people...
Scabbio paradise.
Yeah, a lot of people writing calling him a scab. But he's got a lot of support from the Institute of Public Affairs.
I've got to just pull you up here, Titus. I'm always dismayed. First of all, Australia A is, it's a bit,
it's
call
not
it the
a
reserve
huge
side or something.
yeah.
But just the pronunciation. Why don't just call it Australia A?
Yeah, nice.
So Australia A are playing South Africa.
Yeah, by law. That's what
they're not.
they should do. They're not playing. So that's now been cancelled. We had
because they're not being paid.
Because there's no MOU in place now, no memorandum of understanding. So they effectively are locked out, or they're saying we're not until there's a new memorandum of understanding in place. We're not playing.
Right.
We also had James Sutherland come back, the CEO of Cricket Australia, from overseas, and refused to meet with the players.
Oh, man.
So this is just there is no budging at all. Like, you wonder at what point what's going to be the thing that the breaking point that actually moves this, because right now
this is another Disney film. Well, this is where they start bringing in like suburban cricketers and
that's right.
Just drunk guys from the Royal Park Reds.
That'd be great. The thing here is, it's just, I don't see what's going to break the impasse unless someone like the government, who, because of the tax funding around stadiums and cricket programs, and that puts the pressure on to go, we need the distraction of cricket.
Yeah.
So people start focusing on what's happening in this country.
People watch A-League, and we don't want that.
Yeah, we don't want that, because soccer leads to terrorism. That's what we've learned if I reading the paper.
No, I believe terrorism leads to soccer.
Right, okay. I always forget with the causation, which way it runs. Beck wrote in an interesting one. She says, if the Ashes gets cancelled, will AFLX go through the summer?
Yeah, it will, because... bollocks. We'll have to edit that, because I was about to just give away a big joke from my Sunday thing.
See, that's just a clever teaser.
That is a clever yeah.
Do you think if imagine that AFLX actually took off because there was no cricket around? And that was the sole reason.
Isn't that why AFL, Aussie rules, it was a way to keep fit during winter, and then it became bigger than
And
cricket.
what I find funny about that is, it was meant to keep cricketers fit in winter, and cricketers were never fit until about 10 years ago. So it obviously never worked. So.
Booney was never there at centre forward for the Launceston Suns.
Booney still is in his playing shape, if you look at him. So when cricket's locked down, it's completely all over the shop. I don't think Cricket Australia have made really the case of why they want to change things so much.
Yeah,
no one's really buying the motivation.
Also, footy season's on, so I've not read too many articles. What do the players want? They want more money, and the cricket board don't want to give it to them?
No. Basically, Cricket Australia and the Players Association years ago, quite a long time ago now, over a decade ago, came up with a model of what they call a revenue sharing model, which is the players' payment funding is a percentage of all revenue that comes into Cricket Australia.
Okay.
There are some little bits that are hived off and unincluded, but they get about 26% of revenue goes to the players, and they get paid out of that pool. So the idea is, if the cricketers work really fast, they get more money. If the revenue goes up and cricketers work hard and win games and stuff, the revenue should go up, and therefore they should get more. If it goes down, they lose that. Now, Cricket Australia don't like that model, because they want more. They just want more money, and then decide what they pay the players in a way. And so they've decided to go no revenue sharing model, which is what the AFL got in the argument with the Players Association about.
This is like Phantom Menace, and watching the Ashes is the old Star Wars.
Yeah, that's right. It's in Phantom Menace.
Tell us more about trade tariffs.
Yeah, trade tariffs. That's right. But anyway, that's at the heart of it. It's how you cut the money and what model you have. And the players these days say, you haven't made the argument of why we get rid of what's worked for, it's almost 20 years, I think. You haven't made the argument. And Cricket Australia going, we would just really like more money.
Yeah, well...
That is the level of Cricket Australia's media campaign so far. They've tried to dress it in other things, but their real thing is, no, we would just like more money, please.
What they should be playing up... You know what we do for a living? We stand there in the middle of a field while people throw balls as hard as rocks at our bodies.
Yeah.
Can we have a bit more cash? I've only got a thin layer of plastic between
the
them
players
and
would like
infertility.
some more money, but they really just want to keep the revenue sharing model.
Right.
They would like... to rise with inflation on it. But really they're saying, well, we just want that's the bit we don't want to drop. And the others are saying, well, we're getting rid of it. So that's why it's not going to move unless something comes in. I reckon what's more likely to happen is some rebel league or something pops up and goes, we'll just contract all the players. Because that's what Kerry Packer did. He just came in when they were unhappy back in the 70s. He just contracted directly all the players. Now, anyone could do that now because the players don't even have a contract. He had to get them out of their old contracts.
So we could get Steve Smith down at Royal Park.
Get Steve Smith, yeah. If you got the money, they don't have jobs.
A lot of free beer.
And the thing that's interesting about that is when Kerry Packer made peace with Cricket Australia back in the Australian Cricket Board back then because they realised that he was bleeding them dry.
Now, is this Rob Carlton playing Kerry Packer in this film?
Yeah, that's right. But you know what he did? When they made peace, because they said you can have the TV rights on Channel 9, he said, great, I'll license the players back to you. That's what he did.
Oh, man.
Kerry Packer, one of the great things he said at the time in that the World Series cricket war, he came out and tried to show a bit of, he said, we've tried to deal with the Australian Cricket Board. They haven't really helped us, all cricket administrations around the world. They haven't been that helpful. So we've done this, but we are still willing to work with them. So he'd be told by Richie Benno, who's doing his PR back then, who was PR advisor to Richie Benno, said, try and offer a bit of an olive branch to say to them, if you agree to come along with me, you can be part of the journey. Otherwise, I'll just fight you. But don't say the fight you bit. Just say, we're willing to work with them still if they want to work with us. But Kerry, when he did the media conference, said exactly what Richie Benno had said. We're happy to work with them if they're happy to work with us. But then added, but if they don't, they better get ready to walk into a meat mincer. And Richie Benno was like,
you said the loud bit quiet and the quiet bit loud.
It's sort of hard to so that was Kerry Packer's idea of sort of extending the olive branch.
Oh, well, problem is they'll probably all be bought out by James Packer now and cricket will cease to be.
Yeah, that's right. Louise Crossman wrote in, while I do not enjoy crossing a picket line, has Serge received his call-up yet?
Yeah, what's the latest?
Not that we've heard. He's sick. He says he's sick.
Today. Yeah, no, I saw him practicing in the nets.
He's actually getting kitted out and filming an ad for the Commonwealth
Bank. Doing a KFC ad.
Yeah, KFC ad. Oh, we're on to you, Serge. Lee Greenhouse wrote in, has Shane Watson found his true calling as an industrial relations manager? He seems very comfortable asking for the deal to be reviewed.
Does he even still play? It's weird because he rocked up to the negotiations.
He's one of the delegates. Yeah, he's one of the delegates. I know, he's dressed like he's the rich guy.
What a man of the people.
Yeah. I know, if you're a union delegate, he was wearing like a knitted cardigan, but like one of those really designy ones. And
you dress for the job you want, and he wants to be a 19th century aristocrat.
Yeah, that's right. It was not the best. Now, just a slight detour, almost came to the end, but one thing that Serge and I found interesting this week, and it's not necessarily sports related, but it could have impacts on it, is we ran a big campaign here about on the podcast, on the Variety Hour, about trying to get the laws that ban T-shirt cannons in Victoria overturned. And this was a campaign that was singularly unsuccessful.
Well, it did kill Maud Flanders, God rest her.
That's right. It is responsible for the death of one cartoon character. We then found out this week that mooning is now illegal in Victoria.
Yeah.
Come 1 July. So that's already in place now.
Oh, shit, I'll put my pants on.
Sorry.
So
you and I better. It's a part of an overhaul of 50 sexual offences, and it means now that you could get up to 2 months behind bars if you moon someone, which is quite astounding to me because that would mean most people I know should be in jail now.
Like how calling it a sexual offence? Surely once you moon someone, but you're walking towards them in an aggressive way with your ass acting like a Pac-Man of some sort. That's not a moon. I know. That's a very strange, that's a dominant yet submissive sexual assault.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's got to be context around the mooning.
Yeah, we can't be.
I'm sure sometimes mooning can be,
mandatory, I think, in some cases.
Mandatory. I was going to say sometimes it could be threatening, but most of the time it's just either musing or you go, yeah, righto, mate.
No, I've heard that mooning a certain song got banned at a college because it made all the blokes moon women. And you can imagine if you were the only girl in the room, suddenly every bloke's taking his pants off.
That's what I'm saying about context. There are times when you go, well, that's probably a bit, but I love it because if a mate of mine ever moons me, I'm going straight to the police.
Yes.
The thing here, it says changes to the Crime Amendment Act 2016 describe mooning as someone exposing their rear end. So there you go. We've got that's the legal definition now.
Can I give you an inside? I don't know if I'm allowed to tell this story, but I will. That's an insider to the Western Bulldogs inner sanctum.
Yes.
When we released the new logo a couple of years ago.
I remember that.
Hashtag Be More Bulldog
was
the thing. It was supposed to be hashtag Show Us Your Bulldog. Until one of them had the genius to look up bulldog on Urban Dictionary. And that's when you moon someone, but your testicles are hanging down the bottom, and that's called the bulldog, bit of the jowly thing at the bottom.
There's nothing if not informative, this podcast.
Exactly. So, but I would have loved if the dogs had become the mooning club.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Last year when Bevo said, I'd like to get Bob Murphy up here, everyone pants off.
It says here that while you get 2 months for mooning, repeat offenders face up to 6 months in jail. Imagine that you're in jail and you've got a new cellmate and they go, what did you do? And you go, I killed a bloke. What did you do? I mooned someone several times.
Repeatedly.
It's
going to be like, you know how the Herald Sun will tell you that prisoners get, better health care and everything. There's going to be, do you ever hear the stories of like a guy in America goes into a bank and says, this is a robbery, call the police, I'm going to sit there in the corner so he can get free health care in jail. Someone's just going to be repeatedly mooning just so they can get Foxtel.
That's right. I hear you've got and then they get in and go, it doesn't have the sports channel.
They'll become institutionalised like that bloke from Shawshank.
That's right. Just because of mooning. Don't put me back out there. I'll do it again. I can't stop. Damien, these are our listeners' questions. Damien Rufus Nolan said, now that the AFL has stepped in and righted a wrong, re Basher Hooley, is it possible for them to step in and correct other wrongs of the world? For example, the disparity between rich and poor, the Fremantle Club song, and Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think it is time for the AFL to get involved. Well, they did the disparity between rich and poor last year. Hawthorn were premiers and then the Bulldogs were premiers. You can't get
equalisation. They're very big on that.
Proper financial.
The Fremantle Club song is one that needs probably someone to address it.
Yeah, but let's address I've been saying this for years. Freo's club song is the second worst song in the AFL. The worst is West Coast's.
A lot of people have said that.
That is just, it's like, I don't know how West Coast get away with it.
The Giants isn't great.
I love the Giants.
Do you?
It's great. It's Cat Empire. Written by a Demons fan.
Oh, what a traitor. The thing there is, I think, with the Fremantle Club songs, remember they had a vote of members to change the song.
That's right.
And it got voted back in, but slightly differently. It was a slightly different version.
What did they change?
I think it was a slightly different tempo or something. It wasn't enough to.
So there was someone here
a few years ago. But I remember listening.
This would be better in F major.
Yeah, that's right. Someone with perfect pitch, or if we just speed it up, you could really dance to this. Sarah Black wrote in, as a lifelong Tiger supporter who's only seen 2 finals. Richmond's current top 4 status is considerably disconcerting. Any advice? Well, you're perfect for this, and so am I, because we both haven't been used to. How did you handle actually winning a premiership?
Not well.
Are you still hungover?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and so are the players. You can see by our results. Yeah, look, it does end, Sarah, and when it does, it's as beautiful as you imagine it, and it's the greatest day ever. But yeah, Tigers much crueler to their fans than
they are, because you never had hope.
Sorry, we always made a prelim. and would give us a little bit. Whereas, Tigers, as 2 victories there. My advice, Sarah, run, run and get into soccer or start a new cricket team or anything because, it's going to be painful.
It's John Mansfield wrote in. Can you please
Josh
Mansfield, sorry. Could you please take this season to Alcoholics Anonymous?
Yes.
I think it's on something a bit harder now than I think it's on crack cocaine.
Yeah, hence all the violence.
That's right. That would make a lot of sense, actually.
First, I think this season has to admit it has a problem, and we can't force it to do that. It has to come to that decision itself.
The intervention did not go well.
No, it just started crying and then molested us, and then it mooned us.
Getting Basher Hooley to try and chair the intervention was probably a mistake in hindsight.
And then I had tried to talk to this season more, and then Jake King rang me.
We've now got a couple of questions for Serge, but I might leave them for next week and we do that.
That's good because I don't know what they mean.
Wasman wrote in, if I start leaving work at 2 p.m, do you think my boss will talk about the moral victories I earned before lunch like Woosha does for the Bombers? What I love about that is that's such I'm assuming Wasman is an Essendon supporter. Behind that question is a lot of anger.
Yeah, the Bombers fans are in a really awkward place at the moment because they're going back to being angry at the team, not the AFL, not Asada, not WADA, not Caroline Wilson.
Yeah, they're just on the field performance.
And that's horrible. That's when you realise, this is my fault. Oh no, this is we're not going to win the grand final.
Well, I didn't realise that comeback story meant their opponents, not them. That's the main thing I've learned.
Have you used that line before? That's great.
I think I did it in the knee jerk this week.
Brilliant.
Now, we've come to the end. I can't thank you enough for stepping in for Serge, because otherwise we would have probably not had a podcast, or worse than that, just me talking.
Oh, no.
Which, while good for insomniacs, not great for everyone else. Now, we should plug, you're going game day every Sunday on Channel 7. Right. What time's that? That's
10 a.m. it starts. I'm the dog on the surfboard at the end of the news, so I'm on about 11:15.
Right.
But watch all of it. It's a good show.
Yeah,
it's in a really good spot at the moment. I think the producers have realised that our majority demographic is hungover people, so it's become a bit more lighthearted. We've had Fev on a few times. He's really in great form.
The thing I like about all those Sunday morning shows is there's nothing better than watching them after a win.
Yes, that's right.
It's like reading. You used to get the paper and you read online, but like when you've won,
you knew it was a good win when I was also buying the Australian.
That's right. That's the thing for me is I didn't get to watch any of those footy shows for about 10 years
because of your kids,
because of the demons.
Oh right, yeah, of course.
But now I occasionally even tune in, so I've been able to watch them quite a lot. So and then what else you got coming up? Because you got a gig next week, I think.
Yeah, next week I'm headlining the Comics Lounge Wednesday to Saturday in Melbourne, North Melbourne, Errol Street. Great comedy
What time's
venue.
that?
I think the show starts about 8. They do dinner.
8. What night was it again?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
Oh, so you're doing 3 nights?
Doing 4.
4.
Look at me go.
4. I can't count, but 4 nights. That's great. So get on down there if you're interested. And are you doing a bit of footy stuff or a bit of everything?
Bit of everything, yeah. That's, I don't know. I'll write my set list just before I get on.
I recommend everyone get down there and moon you.
Yes, please do. You get free entry if you moon.
I should just mention again, we've got I'll put in the show notes, our tour on sale. Selling fast. Perth selling very quickly. Canberra is selling very quickly. Melbourne is selling very quickly. Adelaide, there's a few tickets left.
Adelaide always are slow to buy.
Adelaide gone all right. And Brisbane and Hobart friends who have complained to me about not having shows, and fair enough too, should be the weekend after that, the tour. So the following weekend, so I think it's the 8th and 9th of September.
And I think I'm doing Christmas shows in Brisbane at the Sit Down Comedy Club. We're in talks for that.
Oh, right. So you could go up there. I like getting out on the touring. Do you like touring?
Oh, yeah. Well, I did it. I've done it for 13 years now, and I used to just love it because it's exciting to go to a new place and you get to gig every night.
Now you just wish you were dead.
Now I'm away from the kids and I get uninterrupted sleep.
So you're like, this is great.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to get out on the road this time. So if you want tickets, just head along. I'll put the link. It's if you go to Frontier Touring, there's a whole Titus thing or any of my social medias, and you find all that. And thanks again for sponsors, and thanks again to Danny McGinlay for coming in. We couldn't have done a podcast this week without you, so thank you very much. We'll get you back soon.
Absolute pleasure. Go Dogs.
See you next week.